Shalom, shalom. Y'all by Shem Shah Barakatam. Y'all hit the like button when y'all come in the building. We're gonna start in just a second. Y'all sound good? Everybody can hear me?
Shalom, shalom.
Do I sound all right?
Yeah, you good. You good today?
All right. Cool.
Shalom, y'all. Shalom, shalom.
All right, y'all. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. We are the Sons of Thunder Israelites. We want to first give all praise and honor and glory to the Most High Yahweh by Shema Mashiach Yahweh Shah. That's in the name of His Son Yahweh Shah. I am Brother Eliel, or all y'all.
Soldier Judah.
Soldier Judah. All right. So today we got another lesson for y'all. Obviously, um, what's going to be going on today, and the reason for this lesson. If you realize, if you've been privy to the things going on in Israel, there's a lot of doctrines going on, right? And it's becoming harder and harder to bring certain people into the truth. Maybe that you might have known from the world or so on, like whatever it is, right? What I've noticed is the reason it's getting so difficult to bring people into the truth is because of certain doctrines that they have from being in the world. And I realized just from my own experiences and then, having research to come with it now, there's literally agendas that go with that crafty counsel that was, put upon us by the Most High, with him using the hand of our enemies, right? The heathen. So this crafty counsel that they have is literally a council where you know our people are in a situation where instead of us being taught the truth, we're literally being given lies to go after so that it would keep us from our truth. You understand what I'm saying? um Judah, can you do me a favor and tell the soldiers to get on the class, please? Shouldn't have to tell them this, but yeah. So just remember every week to do that for me, so I ain't gotta remember to do it. Thank you. So but yeah, man, that's what we're gonna be talking about today. So what we're gonna do is we have a couple of what's going on with this thing? We have a couple of classes that we're gonna do, right? Or a couple of videos I'm gonna show rather. Um, so I'm gonna go ahead and get into the clips. Y'all like the video, and as we doing that, let me get my notes ready and stuff like that. Scream at some soldiers and stuff. But yeah, so y'all go ahead, check out this clip I got for you, and it'll kind of give you a basis for what we're gonna be talking about today. All right?
Hey, Salaki,
Yeah.
before you get started, we forgot the housekeeping.
I'm gonna do that in a second. I'm gonna do it after
Okay,
the
cool.
clip.
Okay,
Yeah, I got what I'm gonna do now. I got a whole method now. All right. Let me see. Just till we get some people in the building, cause I'm really about to go off on the soldiers right quick. I'm getting tired of this stuff. In the middle of the class, every week we gotta do this with they dumbass. All right. Black. Yeah. Okay. So we're gonna watch this. I want to give you a basis, basically, to why we're having this conversation, right? You know what? I'm gonna do the housekeeping now. So before we get started, you know what I'm saying? Uh, we have classes every single week that you guys can tune into to watch. First of all, we have the Milk Mondays. This is what you're tuning into right now. We give you the milk of the scriptures. You know what I'm saying? Tuesdays, we have Truth Tuesdays. The brothers go into a lesson where they're basically going to give you, the facts about certain things and certain current events that are happening now, and they have a lesson that goes with it. You know what I'm saying? Similar topics go on Thursdays with Thursday Night Thunder, and Friday is your class where you get to ask your questions. We have a call that we require you to call in. We prefer that you don't get on the YouTube unless you cannot call into the class. But if you do want to participate on the Friday class, we do ask that you call in. That way you can ask your questions, you know what I'm saying, and really participate with the teaching and the teacher or teachers. Okay. We have the Patreon. which we don't want you guys to forget about. I put the link in the description section again this time, along with our ways of donating. If you guys can't see them in the little corner right there, but the Patreon, y'all check that out. Depending on the type of package that you get a little video and everything like that from the brothers. Um, there's a podcast that we have that you will not see on YouTube or any of our other platforms. So if you guys want like an in-depth look on how we teach as individuals and stuff like that, if you want to in-depth look on our personality when it comes to the podcast and how we are as brothers and stuff like that, the type of topics that we're going to talk about, be sure to tune into the Patreon and subscribe to that. The link is in the description section once again. Lastly, we have the TikTok that you guys can, I guess, follow, subscribe, whatever it's called on TikTok, right? So y'all can check that out. Put your kids on that information so that they could spread that to their friends and stuff like that. So we'll be putting little clips and stuff on the TikTok for your kids and for you guys as well that like that platform. And last but not least, we have the Facebook. So if you guys want to catch us on the Facebook, you can do that. We have lessons that we do, impromptu lessons on the Facebook every now and then. We also have the lessons as far as our camps, right, that we broadcast on the Facebook. So if you're out of the state, you can't physically come and see us, you can come and watch us on the Facebook. You know what I'm saying? On Fridays with Malachi and the camp that he holds, and on Saturdays with the main camp. All right. So as you can see, as the brother Judah put up, the month of August next month, we will be having a summit with the Mashra Yasharallah, the government of Israel, right? Our 15th annual summit is going to be held in ATL, Atlanta, Georgia, where we reside, right? It's going to be from August 6th to the 8th. So y'all come out, congregate with the people, man. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be a bunch of Israelites there, a lot of Hebrews and Hebrews fellowshipping and congregating with each other. Beautiful daughters of Zion, you know what I'm saying? So everybody will be in the building for y'all to tune in and get to meet and congregate, network, all that type of stuff, right? We'll be talking about businesses and all that type of stuff. So it's going to be a lot more than just the scriptures that flow at that event. So we do ask that you guys come out and participate, man. You know what I'm saying? Whether you a camp Israelite, whether you a stay at home Alonian, you know what I'm saying? Keyboard alike, it don't matter. You know what I'm saying?
Hebrew gigabyte.
And right, as long as you consider yourself a Hebrew Israelite, no matter what your doctrine is, you could be OT only. You know what I'm saying? Whatever, because them brothers gonna be there too. You know what I'm saying? You could be part of the B'nai Israel and Pan African Hebrew Israelites. You could be whatever you want to call yourself, right? Just come through and fellowship with your brothers and sisters, man. Zephaniah 2:1. Gather yourselves together, O nation not desired. All right.
Hey, Salaki.
What's up?
Throw a 7 in the chat if you come to something. I just want to see. Go ahead, Alwan.
Okay, well, yeah, do that right quick.
I just want to see, man. I'm excited to meet brothers and sisters I ain't met before. You know what I mean? This is my first summit, man. Who coming to the summit? Khan. That's right.
All right. So look, here's what we have in this lesson today, okay? As I was saying earlier, there's a lot of doctrines that are being pushed around in Israel right now. And I'm starting to realize a lot of them, the OT only, the Negro only, the Sabbath day debates that's going on right now, the slave trade debate, whether that happened, you know what I'm saying? All of these different philosophies and ideologies and doctrines that are going around right now in Israel, whether you in Israel physically or you in the world, but you an Israelite, or you in the so-called conscious community, whatever it is, right? All these doctrines are being thrown out there for our people specifically because of the truth and the fact that people are jumping into the truth, right? Not coming to the truth, but literally jumping into the truth. Folks is just jumping up in there, right? And due to them just jumping in, Esau's realized this, and he's found a way to throw doctrines out there, right? And he's hoping that you get caught up in the doctrines before you find the truth, so that it'll be harder for you to drop the doctrines and fully, come into the truth as a productive person and make it productive for everybody else, right? So I know it's kind of a parable what I just said, but after I play this clip and the next clip, you'll know exactly what I'm saying. So I want y'all to sit back, get your popcorn ready, you know what I'm saying? Get your concordance and your crudence for the Apocrypha, right? For those of you that don't know what that looks like by now, this is it. This is what we use as our Apocrypha concordance. It does exist. The Apocrypha is a real biblical resource, right? So it has the concordance that goes with it. And of course, we got the Strongs for the regular quote unquote canonized Bible. All right. So without further ado, we're gonna go ahead and watch this little clip so y'all can see what I'm talking about. The topic for today's lesson, though, pertaining to us being fed lies, is mainly about the lie that we've been told where the slave trade never happened. I don't know how many of you have heard that before, but this is a lie that's being propagated prominently in our community right now. And there's a plethora of different groups that are now pushing this lie, right? Uh, it started with the Afrocentrists, certain Afrocentrists. I mean, not Afrocentrists, but the native centrists, I call them, right? The folks that have the same type of ideology as the Moors, that feel that, since they did a little bit of research when they was in high school and found out that there was some black people from the South that were reclassified from Indian to Negro, they just figured and took that junk, 10 steps, OD'd on it, and said every black person in America is an Indian. And there was no Atlantic slave trade, right? So there's a doctrine that's been made off of this. There's been people that they teach you about in school that have written books on this type of stuff, like Ivan Van Sertima, right? Um, and you know, doctrines like this is what's destroying our community, because when the people come into the truth after having a doctrine like this, it makes it hard for them to get rid of that stuff. So they come into the truth kind of indoctrinated. You know what I'm saying? For example, the ones who feel like they're natives, right, and might be of Negro descent, who really possibly came from a slave ship from West Africa, but just found that little bit of information and might have heard that they got a Cherokee grandma somewhere in their family, right? Now all of a sudden, all Negroes are Indian, right? So what they do is they have this ideology where they they propagate this message as if the slave trade never happened, and they've been trying to trick you into thinking it never happened, right? So what you need to do is get to the point where you find out what tribe you're from, and you know just continue on life like that as an Indian. And then it becomes, they learn, okay, I'm a native. YouTube gives you that more science thing in the algorithm, right? Now you start looking up laws and stuff like that to try to put behind your name to make yourself uh,
Sovereign
what do they
citizen.
call it? A sovereign citizen, right? So all these different things, it becomes doctrine. See, Judah knew what I was talking about because it's literally steps to the doctrines that people take and they don't
Right.
even realize it. So I wanted to kind of get into this today to let you guys know that it's literally like a thing that they have out there. You know what I'm saying? This whole Turtle Island debate, everything, right? It's all to make you not look into the slave trade, because if you realize the Hebrew Israelite doctrine, it's I'm not going to say it's based heavily on the slave trade, but the slave trade is something you have to know about in order to get into this, right? You have to acknowledge that your people were in West Africa. If you were of the tribe of Judah or from the kingdom of Judah, you have to acknowledge your people were in that area and that they were taken to the Americas by slave ship, right? Because the Bible tells us that the northern kingdom and southern kingdom have to be oppressed together. You understand what I'm saying? So it's things like that that people got to understand. But those folks who think they're Indian, they're not going to understand that, right? And it causes two problems. They end up being put in a situation where, okay, I'm a native. They lied to me. They use that Bible to enslave my people. Now they lose the Bible. They don't want nothing to do with that, right? Now, second thing is, okay, I'm a native. I need to try to get my land back. Now they're more science. They got the whole Fez ideology and stuff. Black means white and white means black. And, you know, it's all colloquial terms that just state your society, your like position in society, right? That's all BS. So what I'm saying is it's a lot of doctrines that come with this stuff that people need to get into. And it's milk, because a lot of the stuff that y'all see on the internet, that y'all like on Facebook, y'all are trying to figure out, where does doctrine come from? You know what I'm saying? Where did they get this stuff from? It's actually the stuff that they were encountering when they were in the world. They just haven't let it go yet. So I'm gonna stop talking. We're gonna play this clip for y'all right quick while I get everything set up, and it'll become a lot more clear where this conversation gonna go in a second.
Hey, Adawan, and check your phone in 2 seconds. I'm about to send you 2 links.
All right.
Thank thank you so much for the safe space, and I'm going to now trust you on that.
Okay.
My question is about race, and it's about labeling. We like to label. And when I meet someone who is of African descent, African American, I will refer to them as African American. Okay. But if it's a friend I've known for a while, I will call him and I will refer to him as black. So am I overly sensitive or am I appropriate?
Africa is not our home. Let me let that hang in the atmosphere for a while. I said at this gathering of the masters, Africa is not your home.
Now, before I let the rest of this play, we're not gonna play nowhere. We're gonna play like 3 minutes, literally. It's a 21-minute video. We're gonna play about 3 minutes, maybe a little bit less than that. But I wanted to stop. The brother that was just speaking, he's a brother, brother Muhammad, used to go to the One West school and actually learn from our elders, right?
That's right.
So a lot of these people don't know that. A lot of them probably don't even know what Israelites are still at this point, right? But they find clips like this. And because of the things that they're taught by the people that I'm going to mention as we go on with this class, right? They find clips like this and take them completely out of context, right? At this time, Brother Muhammad knew that we were Israelites. There's actually clips in this interview that he's giving where he mentions us being the children of Israel, right? But the guy who made this video, ironically, didn't put that in the clip because it's like it's a propaganda almost, right? It's they want you to hear certain messages and getting certain things from those messages, but not actually take the full context of what the message said. He told you in that clip there that you're not from Africa because he was about to get into the fact that we were the children of Israel and they stole our land from us and stuff. But the guy in this video, or the guy making this video rather, just clipped it there because there's an agenda that they have, right? What you guys are going to realize is Jake has a tendency to do biased scholarship, biased research, right? When they think they have an idea on something, they only do research that is going to lean towards whatever their idea is. If there's any research out there that could possibly go against what they're thinking, they're not even going to look into it. And that's the problem, right? So this video is going to explain it, and the next guy that I'm going to play is going to explain it real well. But there's basically an ideology, or a philosophy rather, that everything the white man taught was a lie. So therefore, you have to unlearn every single thing. There was nothing that he taught that was true. And whatever you find on your own, that's what the gods want you to believe. Because, there becomes this whole aboriginal spiritual aspect to where folks just lean on their own understanding and now they think that they know everything, right? So just continue to watch this clip and realize how they take things out of context, knowing what you know as an Israelite, right? And see how they're literally making it difficult for us to wake our people up.
I'm an American. I'm not an African American. I'm an American.
I mean, you're going to get a lot of flack for saying he's not African American. You know that, right?
What do you think, Morgan? Is this political correctness gone too far?
Yeah. I mean, we have a tendency to do that anyway. I mean, to get politically correct, stuff happened that you don't want to happen. I all of a sudden became an African. African American. I'm not African.
See, even clips like this, right? So you see Morgan Freeman mentioned he's not an African, right? But he wasn't per se saying I'm indigenous to America. He was trying to say I've never been to Africa. How am I an African? You know what I'm saying? So these are the type of things people say. And again, in these clips, they clarify these things. He says, I've never been to Africa. You know what I'm saying? Why do I have to label myself African American? I didn't call myself that until, that was a political term. And he kind of went into it. And he's on Good Morning America with the Fox and Friends. So, the Republican crackers kind of try to tell the other black folks, certain things that have truth to it so that they could get them on their side. And Democrats try to tell folks things that have truth to it so they can get them on their side. And they were using Morgan for that day, right? So Morgan said he's not an African, you know what I'm saying? Because they were trying to play towards the black folk that feel like they're not African. But the guy, again, in this clip, didn't take the context correctly and he chopped it up perfectly. So, because it's biased research, right?
Yo,
black. And what does that
See, so now it becomes so why so-called Black Americans are not African, nor are they descendants of enslaved Africans. So now there were no Black people that were enslaved, right? You're not descendants of enslaved Africans. You were free people in America, and somehow the white folks just have all of the land, have the right to all of the land, and they're above you. But there's no actual, theory on how that happened, because the slavery didn't happen, right? This theory was it was started by a man named Ivan Van Sertima, and it's been carried out and kind of mutated by a man named Dan Calloway, who we're gonna play in a little bit, right? But I just want you guys to pay attention to this. Now that you guys know the basis of what they're thinking, right? Dan Calloway literally teaches that the slave trade never happened, so Deuteronomy 28:68 doesn't exist, right? That was all a ploy from the white man to put it in the book and all this type of stuff just to make people and make our people be subject to the book and feel like we need it in our lives, right? So that we're always under the white man, his ideologies and stuff. And we were never enslaved. So somehow we had this land the whole time. The white folks came and they just took it over without putting us in slavery. We just let them do it. I don't know how, but just pay attention.
well, I use the word black, and I use that so loosely because I don't like the word. What is it? The shadow. No, I am. You call me Negro, you call me Logan, you call me colored boy, you call me black, you call me African. I'm not an African. I'm not an African. I'm not an African. I'm not an African.
To play it safe, I just go with African American for everybody, but then everybody that's black is not African American. See, I like just being called black. I never adapted to the African American term. I just like being referred to as black. I'm comfortable. I like it. It fills me up with pride. But if you meet somebody from an island or something, they're not African American.
See, so Steve Harvey, he's not likening himself to being a Native American. He don't consider himself to be Native, right? He just don't consider himself to be African American either because he's never been to Africa. So he just says, I ain't American. I'm just black. I just like to be just call my ass to color out the crayon box. You know what I'm saying? Me and my suit the same color, right? Call me what you call my mustache, right? So it's like he's deflecting an identity, right? While this brother put him in a video to try to make his point, just because he said he's not African. But the folks that are looking at the video just trying to, they want us to think we black. They want us to think they're African. They're going to miss everything that Steve Harvey just said, right?
What do you mean by America's my mama?
I don't know nothing else. I wasn't eating chitlins when I was in Africa. I wasn't eating watermelon when I was in Africa. I wasn't wearing suits when I was in Africa. I wasn't getting my hair cut when I was in Africa. This bitch is my mama. And yours too. Except I know it's mine.
And then they got old brothers like Dick Gregory, right? The age is supposed to be wise. This is he's an old stupid brother, yo. You know what I'm saying? For real. He got some clips where he said some stuff that y'all might have thought was smart when you was in the world, but once you come into the truth, Dick Gregory is a dumb nigga, bro. You know,
it sounded good.
It sounded good, right?
Right.
But when you come into the truth, it's like, bro, you really just said that on TV? He said, I wasn't eating booty noodles when I was in Africa. I wasn't what'd he say? I
wasn't getting my hair cut in watermelon.
Yeah, I wasn't eating watermelon in Africa. This bitch, my mama. Excuse my language. This thing, my mama, right? That's what he said. So he's trying to say, he's never been to Africa again. Not saying that he's from America, not saying he's indigenous to it, but that he's never been there. So America is his mama, right? The guy in this video, though, is going to try to make it seem as if, okay, these guys are saying they're not African. The reason they're not African is because they're really Native American and they're actually from this place. His name's Dan Calloway. We're going to explain that in a minute. But it's a white guy I want y'all to hear. I'm going to let it get to him. He about to pop up in a second, right? He going to say something that's telling in the video that'll kind of explain to you Esau's ideology and reason for doing this stuff, right? And then we're going to play Dane and get into the scripts.
I have no African descendant in my blood. I'm a Native American. So legally, I'm a Cherokee, I'm a Blackfoot, I'm a Red-tailed Indian. That's what's in my blood. A lot of people in America is indigenous people. You're not from Africa. You're not from Africa.
And then he plays that clip, right? So Waka Flocka got a lot of excuse me, his following got a lot bigger after that interview, after that radio interview, right? I don't think he's made music since, but he got following after that video. He ain't had a good song before that, but after that video, he's been able to make money because now he's got all these, you know, more science thought, you know, Turtle Island brothers and sisters that feel like, okay, yeah, we're not even from here, because he didn't say that you know, the slave trade did happen, but I'm not from there, you know what I'm saying? I'm a Native American. He said the Native American thing, you know, I mean, the African thing didn't happen. The slave trade didn't happen. You people that's African American, whatever you are, really Native. I don't got no African in my blood. He's making it like that as to say, you know, and the way he said it, because I actually watched the interview, was to say that there are no African Americans in the Americas. He even said, I don't even believe in the slave trade. He's a follower of Dan Calloway, right? Waka Flocka is somebody who will never be able to come into the truth now, no matter how much information you give him, because he automatically doesn't believe in one of the factors that was supposed to show you, you know what I'm saying, who you are as a people. You can show him Deuteronomy 28:49, but you don't know how much he's going to believe about that either, because the result of that was a slave trade that brought other people over here, which he doesn't believe happened. So it still causes a level of disbelief when it comes to the scripts that's going to prevent the people from coming into the truth, which again is part of that crafty counsel. So
let's keep switching the identity to hide the people. Why don't we just keep renaming you? Are you Negro? Oh, no, you're not Negro. No, you're colored. No, you're not colored. You're African American. And this is what they name you. Because I know a white guy who grew up in South Africa. And he now lives in America. He is an African American, and more African American than most. Do you see how African American is a misnomer? It's a misnomer. Don't check that box.
you see what Esau just did? And you see why Jake put him in the video? Esau in this video just admitted to doing what they do all throughout history, right? Literally take people's identity. But he did it on the sly, real subliminal, right? He said, see, you're African American, right? We're going to just change your name. He basically walked through the little history subliminally on how we got our names changed. He said, you're a Negro. No, you're a colored. No, you're African American. Then he asked a question. So I know a white guy who's from America, but he moved to Africa. Now he's African American, and he's more African American than most. The reason he says that is because he's actually somebody who's been to Africa and he's been to America, so he can actually claim to be African American. He's probably got dual citizenship, so he's literally an African American by, you know, contemporary terms of nationality, right? So what we got to understand is what Esau did was, you know, say, hey, brothers are African American, or his brother's African American. You know what I'm saying? And Jake put him in the video as to say, you see, African American is not a real term. He says the same thing we say, basically, right? African American is not a real term. It's not a term that you could call yourself. The way Israelites say it is, you know, your mom can't have you in African America at the same time. It's a big body of water there. You know what I'm saying? Things like that. He used it as to say, or in a way to say, the white man could steal this identity too. He could be from Africa. He could be from America. So you're going to pick another identity that he could steal, basically. Or it's another term that the white man gave, right? Which is true. But he's kind of foreshadowing lies a little bit with the context of why he brought that up. So I just wanted to bring this out for y'all, let the white man talk a little bit, just so y'all can see Esau's perspective and that he knows exactly you know, what they've been doing when it comes to that type of stuff. But now at this point, I'm gonna go ahead and play Dane. If this jump come up for me. Hold on a second. All right. Okay.
I hope you're gonna be going in on these doctrines in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, we are.
Facts.
My YouTube is Doing some stuff right now.
Hey, Stone is a brew. Y'all watching El Shabrak. The water for your generous donation, brother. Make sure you come to the summit. Feast with us, man. We appreciate it.
All right, hold up, y'all. Goodness gracious, computer.
You want me to find it?
Nah, I got it. My computer just acting stupid right now. You know, Esau like to mess with my stuff when I got something good to bring. I don't know how they always do it. The lady at T-Mobile told me my internet ironically went out today.
Uh-oh.
It always just do that on a Monday, right? It's crazy. All right, guys.
I ain't calling you on the phone. You tapped.
All right. So Dan Calloway, right? He's a brother. I think he's a brother. But he's a brother. Claims to be Native American. When you look at him, you're gonna say the same stuff Joel always says about me. He's not Gad. Look at his face. But the brother claims to be Gad, but not Gad. You know, Native American, and he claims to be an original or aboriginal or indigenous to the Americas. He also claims that the Atlantic slave trade never happened, and he actually made a video called "Where Are the Slave Ships?" It's got 100,000 views on it, and this is a commentary on his actual video. His actual video got probably close to 500,000 views on it, right? It made him famous basically because he came up with what unknowledgeable people think is history, right? In the video, he's gonna ask questions like, "Where are the slave ships?" and all this type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? We have no actual evidence of the slave ships. I have a whole database that I'm gonna show you guys where they have evidence of the slave ships, right? So I'm doing all this to show you a lot of these people make up these what do you call it? These philosophies, these ideologies, right? These doctrines. They make these things up without even doing full research. You know what I'm saying? Without doing genuine research. So that's what people got to understand here. This is another bad case of bad scholarship. So we're gonna.
They said repeat his name one more time.
Say it again.
They said, can you repeat his name one more time?
His name is Dane Calloway. Y'all gonna see it when I post the video. Don't worry. We're gonna talk about him. Dane Calloway. This brother right here. Right? He got 7.8 thousand likes on this video right here. And it was all a lie. Okay? 7.8 thousand people liked it, 100,000 people viewed it, and it was all a lie. Only 155 people disliked it. So that means only 155 people, me included, out of 7 point out of 7,000 people, right? Only 155 of those people was able to realize that what the brother said didn't have no historical basis behind it.
156.
So that means, okay, 156. So that means it was like probably that's about 3%. It was 3% people that watched this video that have any historical knowledge of the slave trade and anything like that, right? Or where they could find this information and stuff. Everybody else was just a sheep following behind what Dane said and didn't decide to do any research, right? So that's the situation that we end up in. You come into Israel, you start researching stuff, you start learning how to find things out for yourself, learning how to figure out history, and then it irritates you because other people get to make up doctrines and make up lies and act like they know exactly what's going on, but they don't even realize that there's a basis of understanding to literally defute and dispute everything that they put out there. So we're going to do this today with Dan Calloway and his theory that the slave ships never existed. Okay? And as I explain this, you're going to get to, hold on. As I explain this, you guys are going to kind of realize that this way of thought or this way of thinking is where the Negro only deception comes from. It's where a lot of stuff comes from that's wrong with Israel right now, right? It's all because of doctrines and people that taught our folks doctrines before they came into the truth, like Dan Calloway. So now they still have that Dan Calloway spirit in them a little bit, right? They still got them Dan Calloway type thoughts, them Ivan Van Sertima type thoughts, them Yosef Ben Yakanan type thoughts, right? Them Akinyela Umoja type thoughts, and puts them in a situation where they just can't shake it. So they end up making doctrines when they come into the truth. And the people that think like them end up jumping onto that doctrine because they're sheep. We don't do research, right? So that's the basis of understanding for this. Now I want y'all to watch it and see how it plays out.
On topic. Because, I mean, regardless, it's still going to be correlating information. It's not like I'm just getting rid of the topic altogether. That's not going to happen. But especially with this topic at hand, dealing with what you see in the title, I believe it was, I don't have that in front of me, but it's still, where the slave ships. Right? And that's what we're going to be talking about. So there's a video that I posted on my channel called Why Slave Ships Never Existed. I'm going to be playing this, and I'm going to pause and go over certain things to explain. Like, it could be something I said, it could be something I presented. Let's get it in. So, I mean, without further ado, we might as well get started now. And now, okay, if I have to pause this and replay this, probably my first time doing this, actually. The process of education is based solely on the creed.
It's gonna get louder. Hold on.
Which is most popular by public opinion, rather than which would be truthful by way of logical and critical thinking. Compulsory school curriculums in history, for example, derives from fabricated folktales that were authorized by manipulative social engineers of the 19th century, and their opinions alone are somehow credible and are unmolestedly deemed as historical facts without being constructively criticized or even publicly challenged for validation and accuracy.
Oh, damn, I didn't do that. All right, so what he's saying, hold on, let me get back. Come on, YouTube, don't be on this.
Pause and go over certain things. Popular by public opinion, rather than which would be truthful by way of logical and critical thinking.
Let me let it get back to the spot of that.
Compulsory school curriculums in history, for example, derives from fabricated folktales that were authorized by manipulative social engineers of the 19th century, and their opinions alone are somehow credible and are unmolestedly deemed as historical facts without being constructively criticized or even publicly challenged for validation and accuracy.
All right, so look, this is the last time I'm gonna stop it before I let him finish. But what I want y'all to realize is his whole basis for his way of thinking, right, is literally because he's got this philosophy that our people are believing what the white man gave us without actually looking into the stuff. So he actually thinks that it's a bunch of black people that believe in the Atlantic slave trade and don't have anything to do or don't have any research put behind it to believe it, right? They think that Hebrew Israelites just teach, hey, all these black folks were slaves and stuff like that because it's in the Bible. And because we think we're the people of the Bible, we're being forced to believe it. That's the basis he teaches from. And again, Jake is uneducated. You know, they have a zeal of God, but not according to knowledge. So they don't really do research. You know what I'm saying? The reason that scriptures in the Bible that says lean not on thy on your own understanding is because our people are notorious for doing such, right? Our people are known for just getting this thought, thinking it's intuition, and going right off of that. You know what I'm saying? I think I'm gay. I'm gonna be gay, and they go be gay, right? I want to go rob a bank. They rob a bank, and then they get locked up, right? You got on a different color blue tonight. Where? Well, I mean, you got on blue. You know what I'm saying? I'm a blood. I wear red. I'm gonna go kill that nigga. That's how we do. We're just sheep. We go based off the thoughts. It's not really any critical thinking that goes behind the action. You know what I'm saying? Or before the action, rather. It's always behind the action. You think critically after you do it. And that's basically what Dan Calloway did and a bunch of other people that go with these different doctrines, right? They make the doctrine, they put the doctrine out there, and then they think afterwards. And the things that they think afterwards are only to further push their doctrine, right? So doesn't matter how much information you put out there and show this brother, like I'm going to show you guys, there's an actual database. It gives you the ships, the names of the ships, the date that they left, the location that they went to, right? It's a database that they made. And there's a bunch of different universities that have different databases with this information in it, right? We're going to read one from Emory University, since we in Atlanta. But there's one from Rutgers University. University of Michigan has one. I believe Harvard has one. Howard has one. University of Florida has one. So it's a bunch of different universities that have this Atlantic slave trade database, right? So the fact that there's brothers and sisters that teach that it never happened, you know what I'm saying? Because I was on Clubhouse today. That's what made me do this room. I'm in Clubhouse. It's sisters teaching about Turtle Island, and his brothers bringing up Dan Calloway, right? All saying that the slave trade never happened, and we the people of America, we the Americans, you know what I'm saying? The people of Turtle Island. When I tell you guys the Turtle Island story, you're gonna be like, why the hell do people even believe this? It don't even make no sense, right? I'm a native, and I'm telling you that story only comes from one tribe in the whole nation, right? It was adopted by one other tribe, so only two tribes have this story, and they considered, they decided to make a whole doctrine out of it, but it only, covers two tribes. So, I just want y'all to keep all this stuff in mind and understand that he's coming from the basis of black folk are sheep, right? And they're just following what the white man gives them, not knowing that that's exactly what he did. And he didn't do any research and put any research behind the doctrine that he put out. And now millions of people think the same way he thinks because he got famous off of videos like these. He's like a young pharaoh. You know what I'm saying? Only young pharaoh did it with the Egyptology. He's doing it with the we're Americans.
Louder. It's as if people now concluded that if something can be believed by the masses, then they should just tag along and follow the crowd and believe it too. But how did... Hold on.
I don't need you to rewind.
The process of education is opinion or by popular belief. Why would these strangers have a right, or even the knowledge for that matter, to tell the stories of our actual history here in America, when the truth is, those strangers were not living here with our indigenous ancestors to bear witness to any account to begin with?
So now, he makes the claim in the video that, why are you guys even believing any of them history books? Want to know why people here to begin with. So now he's going to make it seem like there was no slave trade. He's even going to make the claim that they didn't even have the type of cargo ships into the 1800s to be able to put slaves on the ship. So he's literally going to disannul the 1492, the 1500s, the 1600s, the 1700s, and say that it wouldn't have been possible for any slaves to even be taken anywhere into the 1800s. He's going to make claims like this, right? As a so-called educated black man, quote unquote, right? And I use that term loosely because he's light as hell. But the brother, these are the type of things that our people do, and folks follow it. You know what I'm saying? No problem. So what's going on with the 12s? What happened?
That's for the soldiers that's on the live. Don't worry about it.
Oh, okay. All right, bet. Because I'm like, what the hell going on? Okay.
Okay, so before I dive any deeper into this, and I'm sure those of you who have been subscribed to my channel for quite some time now know I have went over this topic multiple times. So I would like to ask right now, is there anybody out there that has a question about why I said any of that?
We got questions, but we're going to answer them.
Because before we go any further, you're definitely going to, if you got to, okay, for example, with you guys knowing the story of the slave trade right now, as we know it. Oh, no, actually, let me move this here. As we know it, okay? I would want to hear from a person's perspective of what question they would draw upon this, because
Just so y'all know, I'm gonna send this video to Dane. We're gonna see if he hit us back next week.
Yeah, because I got a couple questions.
I'm gonna play a little more. Let me wait. So guys, after I point certain things out right here in this video. Now, I want you all to think about the very first time that you have ever heard of the term slavery, and try to recall what you were told about the so-called slave ships amongst these slave stories. Many of you can recall hearing information given to you concerning the slave ships themselves, deriving from third-party sources, and maybe not your school initially, but that's very important to note, because
So now, if it comes from the school, it's credible. But if it doesn't come from school, it's not credible. Because remember, he's thinking that these white people set up other white people to just write false stuff in their books. You know what I'm saying? So all these eyewitness accounts they don't have because they weren't living amongst our people to begin with, like you said earlier, right? So keep that in mind. He's going to say that, we weren't there because it's 2021. So we don't have no physical proof. We don't have any ancestors that were living right now. You know what I'm saying? And be able to tell us how big the ships was, even if there was any ships, or if they were actually put at the bottom of the ship in the lower deck, or if they were at the top deck, or whatever it is, right? We don't know. That's what he's saying. We don't know. So how are you just going to believe the word of these white people? If they want you to think they were slaves or that you were slaves, they're going to tell you that. That's what he wants you to think. And that's how he wants you to think. And the folks that don't have the wherewithal and the information in their brain, those of us that are destroyed for a lack of knowledge, they do just that, stay destroyed for a lack of knowledge, right? And they become more destroyed because they end up going off of philosophies that brothers like this dude make up and have no factual evidence behind it, but then continue to ask other people for evidence and say things like, I'd be curious to see what other people have to say about this. All we have to do is bring up the database, but we'll continue.
Must now ask, where did these third-party sources retrieve their information about the slave ships in general? These third parties are things like books and movies.
See, so now he's talking about the third parties as if there was never a school in the United States of America that taught their kids from kindergarten to 12th grade that there was a slave trade that happened every freaking month of February. Because I know where I'm from in Georgia, we got taught that junk every February. I got taught about Martin Luther King, and I got taught about the Atlantic slave trade every single year, at least since 6th grade. I know that for a fact. And when I got to college, when I decided to take African American studies, it was more in depth. But it was all information that I had already learned when I was in school. Notice he only brought out the third party sources because he knows that most of the people doing this information aren't in school anymore. So it would only be third party sources that they're using to get their information, right? He's trying to automatically discredit the third party sources for people that think he's got all the answers, right? Very smart tactic when you're dealing with sheep.
And even the media that tends to give their cultivated possible descriptions of these so-called slave ships based merely on their perception of what they consider to be a fact, based on information taught by a stranger, or rather...
See that? So he's saying all the information we have about the slave ships and slavery in general is all a perception that we have based on what we think is a fact because of what strangers taught us, right? So
by someone else's opinion. For example, fictional movies like 12 Years a Slave and Armistead, then the resurfacing of the story.
So the brother makes the claim that movies like this, they're fictional. They're not fictional to the point where it's a drama depicting an actual historical event, but it's fictional to the point where the junk never happened. They just making some stuff up to make you think you were slaves and your people was living like this in America. You know what I'm saying? So in 20 years, when they changed the narrative and Esau's teaching our kids in school that the slave trade never happened and black people was just, getting paid lower wages, people like Dan Calloway and the folks that teach their kids what Dan Calloway teaches, they're going to be okay with that ideology being pushed because they don't want to be known as descendants of slaves, right? They'd be okay being taught that we were natives just being, paid a lower wage than everybody else. That's how they took the country from them. That don't even make no sense. But that's what they're going to be getting taught because he's allowing it to be easier for them to change the narrative. Esau changes the times and the seasons. He changes history too. Y'all heard of the Mandela effect? There's certain things you could that I found that were pertaining to Israelite history on the internet just 4 years ago. You can't find it no more. You can look up the same article that I got screenshots of. I could go to Wikipedia. I could go to a website, CNN, Washington Post. I could screenshot an article from 4 years ago. I could go back to that same article right now, and there's words missing from the article. You know what I'm saying? And it's all because they wait to see what type of information the Israelites going to push out. Oh, that brother Eliel be talking about that Tariq al-Fatash. And he told them that it got the Hebrew Israelites' names in it. We got to go take that junk out the Wikipedia page. They got to buy the book to find out that's in there. But I got the screenshot that you can't find now, right? From 4 years ago when it was on the Wikipedia page before they changed it. And it actually gave you line for line, name for name, the 7 generals in West Africa where they pinpointed and took the slaves from, right? All of them had the name Ben Israel. But now you can't find that information unless you actually buy the Tariq al-Fatash book because they took it off the Wikipedia page, right? It's people like Dan Calloway that make it easy for them to do this type of information or that do this type of stuff because they could take the information away. And once they take the information away, Dan Calloway will teach the information that's out there now, whether it's the factual information or it's a piece of the factual information, and they'll push it like he got all the answers. So then the people don't go looking for the facts. They just think, all I got to do is go to Dan Calloway page. You know what I'm saying? That's like with Sinetta. All I got to do is go to Sinetta. He can have somebody under the nose going on. And the niggas he got is stupid. Listen to Rob Bourne and Polite. G-Con. All them type dudes, right? Black Minister. Black Jesus. Bruh. These are the people that we have to deal with. And the ideologies that we have to fight against when it comes to waking up our people, right? Listen to them. We about to get into the scripts. Did it freeze?
Surrounding Clotilda, which was allegedly found and deemed as the last American slave ship, just like the Wanderer, which was also deemed as the last American slave ship. But yet, there are no viable remains of either ship or boat, just a story. In order to keep the idea,
let's skip
a
to the
depiction
point.
is an old French word. All of these so-called enslaved Africans being packed inside of a ship. Now, does this ship represent the so-called, well, they weren't even ships, they were boats. Number one, 15, 16, 1700s, you didn't get these types of boats until the 1800s.
Now, hold on. I want y'all to watch his face after he made that statement because he knew in that moment, you know, you can look at somebody's face and realize he didn't mean to say that because he knew he didn't do his research to find out if there were actually any ships and not just boats in the 15, 16, and 1700s. Because we know that the boat or the ship that Columbus got on, right, that Luis de Torres was on, wasn't a boat. That was a ship. And that jump was made August 3rd, or they sailed August 3rd, 1492, before the 15, 16, and 1700s. So why the hell would Columbus get a ship, but they don't have a ship in the 1600s? Right? Watch his face.
And then, okay.
He had to stop and think, oh, damn, I just said that. Okay, all right, right? So we're going to stop here. And now we're going to start to debunk the brother, okay? Because he made a critical mistake. And people do that. They make mistakes, right? Noah's Ark was a boat. He going to tell you, not a ship. right. Noah's boat. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, exactly, right? We didn't have no ships until the 15, 16, 1700s.
That's the stupidest thing I ever heard, bro.
That's
the stupidest thing I ever heard.
You know what? You know what's more stupid? People believed it. 7,000 people liked the video. You understand what I'm saying?
But hold up.
It was 7,000 people that didn't think, damn, they had ships in Little Mermaid. They had ships in Peter Pan. All these movies are supposed to be movies that take place, like, you know, in damn time periods before that. You tell me you
Pocahontas,
had a kids just all tricked up and stuff?
bro.
They gonna have ships in a time period that didn't even have no ships? No,
Pocahontas, they came over in ships.
but Noah made an ark though. The Olmecs came to America in a big ass boat. Mm-hmm. The King dynasty that was floating around with Attila the Hun, they didn't travel in ships. They traveled in little boats, little dinghies, actually. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. They was going through the Atlantic Ocean in a canoe, Ak. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You see what I'm saying?
That is retarded.
Bruh. But 7,000 people liked the video. All right.
But just imagine if you came to camp and said that in front of your face. Like, we came over here in slave ships. Bro, back then there was no ship, there was only boats. Like, that sounds dumb. What kind of argument is that?
I'm gonna read him two scriptures. Give me Hosea 4:6 first.
Yes.
This for Dave Calloway, if he ever come to camp. He ain't gonna come to camp. But look, see, so now we're gonna get into the script. I just wanted to show y'all the basis for the argument, right? So that y'all understand it's people like him that start these doctrines, right? This women can teach in Israel doctrine. It was started by a man and a woman who didn't look into the Torah, but they claim to be Torah only Israelites. As usual, they don't read the Torah, but the Torah only, you know, it's amazing. But now they're teaching that the women can teach. You know what I'm saying? There were queens in Israel without knowing what the hell a queen was and what the word means in Hebrew. It's in 2 Chronicles, it's in Judges, and I don't know what that's talking about. It's in Numbers. It's these doctrines that get started. And the folks don't know how to beat the doctrines because they're not doing the research to beat the doctrine. They're just going off what somebody told they stupid behind, right? That's the problem with Israel. Our people are lost sheep. You read that, Hosea 4:6.
This is the book of Hosea, chapter 4 and verse 6. My people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. Because thou hast...
My people just waking up.
Our people are destroyed.
Okay.
Finished. For lack of knowledge.
No. For too much knowledge. Because remember, Dan Calloway said, you guys have just believed everything that the white man taught you. He propagated a lie off of a lie. That was a lie. That's basically what he said. You know what I'm saying? He said it was just a lie that they propagated because they felt like it. And we believed it because we didn't have no research to prove otherwise. So we just believed a lie. No, nigga, we did research. It's people who actually, it's called, you know, there's a job description called an archaeologist. And there's archaeologists that have actually found these boats. That's why they could tell us, hey, this is the, you know, whatever that boat was that started with the C. That was the last boat that he talked about that he don't believe. That was the last boat, right? It's like they have job descriptions for a reason. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what they do. It's not fair that, okay, we found these Native American remains in Georgia, and it says that the hair follicles that would have been coming out of their scalp would have been Negro hair. Like, if they say something like that, the hair follicles that's coming out of their scalp would have been Negro hair. All right. So you believe what the archaeologist said in this instance, but you don't believe what he said in our instance? You know what I'm saying? You believe what he said when it fits your narrative, but you don't believe what it said when it fits another person's narrative or when it's just facts. You know what I'm saying? That's how Israel is. It's biased scholarship. You got something?
Hey, Vikings had ships. Nope.
Them white barbarians was floating around in dinghies,
But we came on boats. Yo, this is wild, son. I'm gonna finish reading
this. They didn't have no ships. They had long canoes. That's why they was long and flat like that with the little curl at the end. That wasn't no ship. That was a canoe, right? No, bro. It was a ship. They could put you behind at the bottom of it. It's lucky. They could have put you at the bottom of it. All their goods and the food that they had went at the bottom of the ship. You know that there's no storage container in a boat?
Dummy.
Unless it's the type of boats we got now that we know that they didn't have back then. They didn't have boats with cots and bathrooms and mirrors and showers and no, they didn't have that back then. But they would have had to make a ship in order to put a storage compartment at the bottom, in order to have a deck 1 and a deck 2. Once you got 2 decks, it's automatically considered a ship. A yacht, technically, is not a ship. It's not a boat. It's a ship. They call it a cruise ship, right? When it don't got people on it on vacation. That's what I'm saying.
This
the
is
reason they have
laughable.
the blueprints for these ships is because they've been making them forever, man. You know what I'm saying? But our people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge, right? Colossians 2:8.
Want me to finish
Let's
that?
get this. Yeah, you can finish it.
Because
And
thou
then I
hast
want to show
rejected
this
knowledge.
while he's finishing that. Go ahead.
Because thou hast rejected knowledge, I will also reject thee, that thou shalt be no priest to me, seeing thou hast forgotten the law of thy power. I will also forget thy children.
You see that? See, you're going to forget our children. You
Hey,
forgot
man.
all your... Come on now. Hold up. This computer acting crazy right now. All right. Can you see the screen? Is it sharing?
Nah, can't see nothing.
Okay. It's going to come up. It's loading. Page unresponsive. Man. All right. Man. I'll pull up the database when I get a chance, because now this junk acting crazy. Let's see if it's gonna load. I don't want my computer to crash. I need a new laptop, Drew. I think that's.
I can pull it up, man. What? Hold on, let me just get it real quick.
Yeah, go on the internet. It's called slavevoyages.org, and then just click database. Let me see. Let me make sure this junk don't crash on my behind. Yeah, whole computer right there, retarded right now.
On the transatlantic hit database.
Yep.
All right, I'm about to share my screen in 5, 4, 3, 2.
Okay, because I can't even get back to the damn screen. So
2, 2, 2, 1.
I'm stuck like Chuck right now. Here we go. All right, bet. Y'all, you see that? I just got back right on time. Okay, so let me X out of this so it don't mess my computer up. All right. So like, as you see here, right? If Judah was to scroll, let me see. Scroll down some. Yeah, all right, bet. Look. So go like click on, or not click on it, but put your mouse over the thing and then scroll over to the left. It don't let you click something.
Nah. Hold on. Nah, it don't let me scroll.
Okay, well, anyway, look, I'll just speak like this, right? So here you got the databases with the ship name. This is, by the way, look, transatlantic slave trade. So it starts from 1817 because this particular database only has records that start in 1817, right? But there's other databases like the one from Records, the one from Vanderbilt, and I want to say Maryland, that have records from the 1600s, and they give you ships, right? And here they have the vessel name, so you actually could look up what the vessel was called. You can see what it looked like, all that type of stuff. It gives you the name. It gives you the slaves on board. You know, so the first one got 290. There's 223, 350, 342, 516. You see what I'm saying? How do you put 516 slaves on a boat?
I don't know.
That would be kind of difficult, right?
You know it would be.
The little things that you use at motherfucker, the little boats that they use at Lake Lanier and stuff like that, it'd be really hard to put 100. It'd be hard to put 100 people on that thing, 50 people, let alone 516. And you're not counting the crew. That's only slaves. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
So I mean, this is just the database. You wanna know how I got this database? I went on YouTube and I typed in proof of slaves in the dang Google search, and it said it gave me a whole tutorial on how to find the Atlantic slave trade database. So they got databases that the brother all he had to do was go on YouTube and click the junk. You know what I'm saying? Type it in. All you had to do is go on Google and type in Atlantic slave trade database or proof of Atlantic slave trade. It would have brought you to a database. But he's now been able to teach people that it never happened. You know what I'm saying? And people ain't even looking for stuff like this. That's automatically taking them away from the truth. You know what I'm saying? Because once we come out and tell them, hey, you're an Israelite, we bring them to Deuteronomy 28. Hell, look. We bring them to Deuteronomy 28. They got to go to verse 15. We bring them to verse 45, right? We bring them to verse 48. Verse 49, where it talks about a nation coming against you from afar, right? Verse 48 talks about how you got to serve your enemy for all things. Verse 45 to 47 is explaining how the curse is going to be upon our people forever, right? So you got all these things that we talking about, and then we bring you to the curses. Bam. Verse 64, you're scattered to the four corners of the earth, having to serve gods that your family that your fathers didn't know, gods of wood and stone. Now we serving those guys and stuff like that on the four corners of the earth. 68 explains a little bit more how we the four corners of the earth. Are you sharing your screen again? What you trying to show, Judy?
Oh, I typed in the transatlantic slave trade database, like you said, and it comes up. Multiple of them. Different colleges.
A bunch of them, right?
So government.
And you say this from colleges, right? They got government ones and everything, right?
Government and universities. Harvard.
That was one Google search. Why the brother didn't do that, but he's able to put out a video and 100,000 people watching? 7,000 people liked the video. Only 155 people disliked it. 7,000 people didn't know you could do a damn Google search and realize there's a whole database. They got the names of the people. What? You could look up names. I had to do it when I was in college. I had a whole project I had to do on it. The teacher literally made us sit in class and write down the names of the people in the database. You can ask Sister Hannah. She was in the class with me. She had to do the shit too. So, like, that was 2018. It's 2021. So the information been out there. It's been out there. But the people not doing the research because we're sheep. We hear somebody say something and we just go off of that, man. Colossians 2:8. You got that?
It's the book of Colossians, chapter 2 and verse 8. Beware lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit, after the tradition of men, after the rudiments of the world, and not after Christ.
Right? After the traditions of men, after the rudiments of the world, and not after Christ. That's what our people are being taught. Because here's what they do, right? And this is part of that crafty counsel, right? Psalm 83 said that they hope to make the name of Israel be no more in remembrance. The easiest way to do that is to take away your knowledge of self. That's why I continue to bring up my favorite scripture, right? I got 3 of them, right? I got Baruch 2 and 30, because it says in the land of your captivity, you're going to remember yourself, right?
Yep.
I got Sirach 24:23. What are you remembering in the land of your captivity? Your heritage that you lost, according to Jeremiah 17:4. The heritage that Moses gave to the congregations of Jacob, the laws and the commandments, right? The statutes, the judgments. This was our heritage. But instead of our people going back to that, right? They're looking for everything but that because of Psalms 83. A main factor of Psalm 83 and the counsel that goes with that is the fact that they took it upon themselves to teach us that the Bible was what caused slavery, right? They give you that philosophy, that ideology. That's not true in no way, shape, or form. But that's what they teach you, right? And because that's what they teach, it's easy for people to grasp onto that because we're sheep, right? So once you get the understanding and you're going to church every Sunday with your parents and you realize the stuff that they say in church don't make no damn sense. They got YouTube videos and they got little documentaries and lectures and stuff like that where they talk about how the church is destroying the black community. They're doing these things on purpose. It's Esau that controls the media. Esau makes the algorithms for the YouTube and the Google. So that when you search certain stuff and you watch certain stuff pops up for you to see more certain stuff, right? So if I just seen a Dan Calloway video and I'm, I want knowledge of self. I don't want to go to the Bible. So I type in Dan Calloway. It's going to be more people like Dan Calloway that going to pop up after I watch the Dan Calloway video, because that's what Esau does. That's the type of way that he built his algorithms. You watch a Dan Calloway video, you're going to get Brother Polite next. Now you're going to get to choose between whether you a Native American or you a Nuwapi. Right? Whether you think, you the God of America, or whether the black woman is your God. You know what I'm saying? You can watch Sinetta TV after that. Then a Yosef Ben Yakanan video pops up. Now you're learning about Pan-Africanism. Oh, snap. Now you got 4 different options you can learn from, right? 4 different doctrines you could gain and go into, dive deep into, right? Now you got all these books that you're thinking about. They warned us about that in the book too, right? Ecclesiastes 12 and 12. The making of be admonished. You're warned. Be circumspect. The making of many books, there is no end. Why was that have to be, why did that have to be said to us? Had to be said because it's going to be people that make all these different books. It's going to be all these doctrines that get made. It's going to be people trying to push the book of Jasher, the book of Jubilees, the book of Enoch on you. Even though you've already been told it don't make no sense, and you've been showed it don't make no sense, and you've been showed the contradictions in it, it's still going to be people that want to jump onto it because we're sheep. You just feel like you got to go against what the white man gave you because you feel like he didn't give you nothing that was right. The Most High's not the author of confusion. He made the white man the devil. Yeah, he made him the deceiver, but he didn't deceive you with everything. So he got critical thinking ability. Right? If there's a Jewish people, and ish means like or pertaining to, there's already proof in history that you all know about them being the fake Jews. That means there has to be a real Jew out there, right? Which means you got to look for the real Jew to find the real Jew. If there's only one type of people on the planet that have been classified into like 7 to 10 different groups, you know what I'm saying? Black, Hispanic, Native American, and all the little subcultures in between. And these are only people that don't have a real nationality, or real identity, real ethnicity. Who else could be the real Jews? Right? But now you're not thinking critically on that standpoint. You're thinking from the standpoint of, we had the Bible, we got put in slavery, now they call us Black and African American. All these people say that they're not African though, so they must be American. That's what they're thinking. And then from there, okay, I gotta go find some books to find that out. Now to make you give many books, there is no end. Now you're reading Ivan Van Sertima. You're learning about how, that story that you've all heard before. The black folks was really Native Americans. You know what I'm saying? You got a Cherokee grandma in your family because you a real Cherokee. And all this other crap, right? So it's these philosophies and ideologies that really screw up our people. And it's all because of Psalm 83. Esau made it possible for these people to push these ideologies, to push these doctrines, to push these philosophies onto our people and make it difficult for our people to actually find out what's real and what's not because of how much stuff's being pushed, right? If you go into college and Judah, give me Ezekiel 3 and 11 right quick. If you go into college, right, they got you reading people like Ivan Van Sertima, you know. Now you would read someone like Dan Calloway because he's got books too, the brother that we just watched. He has books. People are reading. Best-selling author. To be best-selling, you got to sell like 500,000 copies or something like that, right?
Something crazy.
So if that's the number, 500,000 people bought his book. That means 500,000 people think that what he said was credible because they went and bought it. This nigga just said wasn't no slave ships, and in 5 minutes we brought up 10 databases that prove otherwise. And he didn't show not one database in his video. You know what I'm saying? But they give you him, right? Dr. Ben Yakanan. He's somebody I learned a lot when I was in school. our elders are privy to him because he used to talk a lot of crap about the Israelites. So African American studies teachers love Dr. Ben Yakanan, especially when there's a brew in the building, right? Because his name is Dr. Yusuf Ben Yakanan. He got a whole Hebrew Israelite name and teaches that we're not Hebrew Israelites. We're Africans from Egypt. Yusuf Ben Yakanan is a Commission, Pan-Africanist. Brother Daniela knew him and Priest Sabak. You know what I'm saying? Priest Bon Lawyer. When he was around, they used to do videos with the brother. You can still find them on YouTube, or at least it used to. They're interviewing the old brother. You know what I'm saying? Trying to wake him up, and he wouldn't do so because he was already indoctrinated. He didn't want nothing to do with the Bible because he felt like, well, the white man had something to do with that. So we should just drop everything the white man had and pick up our own stuff. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, look, if I would have been raised knowing Dr. Ben Yakanan, it would have been hard for me to come into the truth. Because I'm somebody that dives deep into history and stuff. If I would have dived into any of the books that man read, I would hate Hebrew Israelites. Everybody who I know that is a follower of Dr. Ben Yakanan's work, that isn't an Israelite already, they hate Israelites. Right? I was kicked out the African American Studies School for being too smart by a guy who's a follower of Dr. Ben Yakanan, Dr. Akinyele Emuja. And he's a damn teacher that teaches the same stuff. You know what I'm saying? Only Pan-Africanism. So these are the things that we have to understand, because it's folks that come up with these ideologies and these doctrines that haven't really done the research for themselves. And our people just follow them, man. You know? Ezekiel 3:11. Grab that for me. Because it's important, right? We were commanded by the Most High to go to the people of the captivity. If you're being taught there was no captivity, and like we out on the streets, the highways and byways, that's where we get the majority of our people, right? How do we get the people to believe what we're saying if they already got ideologies and doctrines in their mind that none of the stuff that we coming from in the book actually happened? They're being taught that the Bible is a fairy tale book. You know what I'm saying? And the folks that have enough knowledge to know that this all can't be fairy tale, they try to make it, hell, they make a doctrine out of what the Bible is. They try to make it a science book. They try to make it a book that, you know, just tells you how to live. We already know the laws and all this other crazy stuff they be saying, right? It becomes a book of science. They don't even know what science is. It's all because they're not really trying to look at this book from a standpoint of how they think the white man looks at it. So because they think the white man reads it, because he told them he does, he didn't actually, you know, do it, but he told them that, they just listen to whatever they told. So because the white man reads it, we don't want to read that book. We'd rather go for the Egyptian Book of the Dead. Give me the 42 Laws of my eye. I'll take that. You know what I'm saying? Give me Dane Calloway. Give me the Morris Science rules and regulations of how to be a sovereign citizen in America. I'll take that. You know what I'm saying? She said, and yet we haven't proved him wrong. Wait. Why you pass, you'll be well. Don't pass and be well. Just stay and let us debunk the brother. I don't know how long you've been here, can't get right, but you can't get right. You know what I'm saying? Watching Dan Calloway.
Hey, look, they said that because Araya asked what they want the link. You know, they like to talk and can't back nothing up, so they'll pass and leave.
All right, well, check this out. If they still here, right? Just so that they know they can't get right watching Dan Calloway. Judah, do you have the database one more time you could bring up for them? Because I already took mine down. Right?
Yeah, they ain't gonna
made a prominent statement in the video that we brought up that he said there was no proof of any slave ships. If you can't get right, if you on there and you can make a comment, can you tell me what any of these things is right here? Or did you just did the wicked flee with no man pursue?
Yeah, you know they gone.
Because you know that's what y'all do, right? Mm-hmm. Y'all make comments and the sheep. That's what they do. The sheep, right? Even though you put out something, you show them. We just showed you the dang database. a bunch of them, a bunch of different databases with the slave ships and where you could find them. We went on Google. He didn't just show you that one, but he showed you actual ones other than that one that started different time periods before the 1800s, all showing actual slave ships, not slave boats, not dinghies. It give you the name, it give you the port, it give you the amount of people on them, right? So dumbass, stupid Dane, stupid Dane got to tell us how you could fit 516 people on a ship,
on a boat.
Right?
Hey, but you know what? Can't Get Right is still listening. I know they are. He's been commenting.
Yeah, I know they are too. We didn't lose that many people. So
yeah, I didn't even see that. I didn't even see. He's been commenting. Well, he or she has been commenting. But it'd be funny because, like you said, they sheep. They just follow. He hasn't.
Because I'm looking at the
none of the
information.
information.
I was in here. I see they was in here when we brought the database out the first time.
Hey, look. They don't soak up none of the information and then be able to regurgitate it. They just listen and say, this sounds good, I'm going to follow. Then when somebody says something contrary, the hate that y'all have for Brother Dane is alarming. Then when somebody says, we'll prove it. We'll prove it. No,
or what it is this, right? They'll just leave. It's good information coming out that's going to automatically debunk and refute everything that you think, your whole ideology. So instead of listening to see what the people got to say that have something to go against what I got, let me just not listen to it. You know what I'm saying? Hey. That's how you know what we got is the truth, because our elders literally teach us. Zabak, y'all all, you know what I'm saying? They taught us if you're going to go against somebody, you have to know exactly what they teach. You have to be able to break down what they teach and understand why they teach it. These folks don't want to understand why we teach what we teach, because if they do, it'll make too much sense, and they know that.
Watch this.
Right?
This is
the proof. See, the Most High make it manifest every time. We sitting in the room talking about how stupid the sheep is. You know what I'm saying? How our people are lost sheep. All we do is follow, right? That's why Jeremiah 23 exists. Because could we just pick a shepherd and follow him no matter what he does? Right?
Mm-hmm. This is exactly what his sheeple suffer from, cognitive dissonance. The examples include explaining things away or rejecting new information that conflicts with their existing beliefs. So all you have to do is say, well, the hate that you're showing is alarming. And when somebody say, okay, come up here and prove us wrong. No, I'll pass.
Yeah, because you can't prove us wrong. It's just y'all have a blessed day. Oh, y'all hating on Brother Dan, but y'all have a blessed day. We hating on Brother Dan? No, we debunking what he said. He said in the video, I want to hear if anybody got anything to say about this. Because he's so confident that nobody's going to have anything to say about this. Because there's people like Can't Get Right that can't get right. When it comes to information, when it comes to history, right? You can't get right. You can't get it, right? Yeah, you can't. You see. Goodness gracious. Ecclesiastes 7:7. Because
3:11.
You ain't even got to get that yet. We'll get that in a minute. We'll drop that right now.
7:7.
Because Ezekiel 3:11 was telling us to get to them with a captivity, right? Only reason I was going to bring it up is people like Can't Get Right not going to believe there's a captivity, so there's no reason to go get to them. They don't think there was a captivity. They think they was here by themselves. I'm a native. I'm my people from here, right? And I know there was a slavery in here for us, for our people, right? Dan Calloway don't teach that. So now you're a native teaching non-native history. You see how that works? To people that think they're native but might not actually be. So now you're teaching them history, them thinking that they're learning it from somebody that actually knows the history and they don't know what the hell they're talking about. Right? Dan Calloway says things like, here, let me see if I can bring this up. He says things like the Canaanites, or not the Canaanites, but the Olmecs, right? Taught us how to read and write. Can y'all still hear me? Did I freeze?
Yeah, we get you.
Okay. My computer just froze up just now. Trying to delete
it. Good.
All right. Okay. But yeah, so Dan Calloway, he teaches that the Olmecs taught the natives and Hispanics how to read and write because he got that from Ivan Van Sertima, right? His spiritual scholarly daddy, right? Because that's where he gets all his information from. Ivan Van Sertima actually taught that the Canaanites, I mean, not the Canaan. I keep saying Canaan. That the Olmecs and the Israelites or the natives, as they call them, right? They teach that we have the same writing style. We don't. If I type, let me see if I can do this right quick. I'm gonna show you guys. Everybody here knows what the Lashawan Kodash looks like. We've all seen it because of certain artifacts like the Los Lunas tablet, right? It actually has Paleo Hebrew characters on it, right? So we could type in this junk is gonna work for me. Judah, my computer is wild.
Okay. What you want? What you want me to look up?
Nice stone. Let me see if it's gonna work.
When you over there with that Dell, man.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I got too. It's from
Oh,
Georgia
for
State. Yeah. It's
You got to
exactly
get
the
your
piece
map,
of crap
man.
I had. Damn deal. All right. Oh, it just keep. Yeah, bro. Look up the Lost Lunar Stone for me, bro. Cause this chunk is doing too much.
The Lost what?
Los Lunas. LOSLUNAS. I want you to show that, and then I want you to show them Olmec characters, Olmec writing, so that they can see. Just simple
All right.
Google searches. You don't even got to open up no books to defute Dan Calloway. You don't got to defute. You don't got to open up books to defute. Uh, you know, any of them dudes. You ain't got to open up books to defute Polite. You don't got to open up books to defute Jabari Osaze. You don't got to open up books to defute Young Pharaoh. None of them, right? Look at those characters here, right? They actually look like actual characters, okay? This is Paleo Hebrew Lost Lunar Stone, right? Okay? Now, I want you to type in Canaanite script, Canaanite, I keep doing Olmec script. Type that in, just so they can see, right?
Spell that again.
Google searches, Olmec, OLMEC.
All right.
Script. Yep. Or
All
writing.
Right. Okay, come on, hold on 1 second, and then I'm gonna
It should look like little shapes and X's and dots and.
Right, yeah. Hold on, let me share my screen. Boom, boom, boom. I'm in images. Just tell me which one you want.
You click the first one. That's fine. We ain't got to go too far. Do y'all see this? This is how the Olmecs wrote, as opposed to what you just saw as our writing, right? They have no characters. They got symbols as their writing. And the symbols aren't even like different. A lot of them are the same symbol. That shows you how primitive of a people they were, right? But it's folks like Ivan Van Sertima, who people think is actually intelligent, who wrote and put out there for the public in academia for scholars to learn about. He actually wrote and made claims that the Canaanites taught the people of America how to write and read. As if the Native Americans that were here before the Olmecs didn't know how to read or write before that, but their writing style is completely different. Do you see the stuff? But a doctrine will get created off of that. It has been created off of that, right? Now they teach that the Olmecs are Native Americans. They teach you that the black Mexicans and stuff like that are the real Mexicans because they come from the Olmecs and those people are Asians and stuff. The Olmecs are Africans from the Ivory Coast. They're the rubber people. They're the Canaanites from West Africa. They lost their Proto-Sinaitic script and started writing primitive symbol language. They didn't teach nobody how to do anything, man. The fact that they wrote symbols is the only reason they were able to write or make those statues that they made. They were people that did that type of stuff. They communicated with symbols, as you see. It wasn't even characters that they used to communicate. They got a damn barbershop symbol up there. I don't even know what word they represent, but it's a word. That barbershop symbol. That eggplant is a word. Okay? So these are the type of things that our people do and the type of assertions our people make without having any research behind the stuff that they say. So we ain't got too much left. I'm just gonna get a couple of scriptures and we're gonna close out. I just wanted to show y'all how stupid our people are, man. And they got a basis for where a lot of these doctrines start. Because give me Isaiah 1 and 3. Right? We can look at something as simple as the Jewish man, right? And take how they've changed history and how they make it simple for our people to adopt whatever they change, right? I came into the truth about 5.5 years ago. 5 years ago, 5.5 years ago, something like that, right? So when I come into the truth, there was a lot of stuff you could find on the internet that you can't find now. I realized that a lot of that same type of stuff is going on, but you got to be able to look at it. We could bring up people like Ivan Van Sertima. We could bring up, who else can we bring up? We could look at Ivan Van Sertima. We could look at Farrakhan. Let me see if this will pop up right quick. Come on, computer. Don't let me down. All right, bet it's gonna work. All right, I'm gonna let these load for a second. Okay. Let me see if I can show y'all this right quick. Give me Isaiah 1 and 3. Read that.
It's the book of Isaiah chapter 1 and verse 3. The ox knows his owner, and the ass his master's crib. But Israel does not know. My people do not consider.
See that? Our people don't know, nor do they consider who the Most High is. To them, right? They don't even consider who they are. To an extent they do, but they don't really go after the old path. They go after whatever's new. And then accuse people that go after the old path as if they're not doing something right. Bro, this junk is pissing me
off. It ain't gonna work. I don't know. What you need?
They are not trying to let me show y'all anything on this computer. All of this stuff worked before I got on the dang StreamYard, bro. Or before I went live. Because I checked everything literally right before I hit the live button. And now none of the junk works.
There ain't no more Dell commercials for a reason, huh?
Yeah, I know. I'm gonna throw this junk in garbage, bro. Right, it don't matter. I'll just speak it, right? Until I get back to the screen, because it's doing some extra stuff right now. I can't even get back to StreamYard right now. But you can still see me, right?
Yeah, I can still see you.
Okay.
You good.
All right. But anyway, we could look at stuff like the Dutch West India Company, right? And how it was proof before 2021 on the internet. You didn't have to go into any books or anything like that, right? You didn't have to go look up the records of the Dutch West India Company. You didn't have to do any of that. You literally just had to, just look this stuff up. Look up Dutch West India Company. It'll tell you that the Jewish man owned it, the Jewish families that owned it, the Jewish people that had something to do with it, right? And how they funded the slave trade and stuff like that. That's all history out there to prove that the slave trade happened, right? Obviously, Esau wouldn't want that information coming out now, though. Now that he has people like Dan Calloway, Ivan Van Sertima pushing this type of information that the black man is a real Indian and stuff like that, right? So what they do is they'll put stuff out there to fit the new narrative, right? So back in the day, there was a man named Dr. Jeffries who made a claim about the Dutch West India Company and said that we have all the records, you know what I'm saying? We got the Jewish man, how he owned the Dutch West India Company and all the slaves that he sold and everything, right? And then, because I actually physically, when I first came into the truth, I saw Danielle and Ashar do a lecture on this. And I was able to look up the stuff in my car as I was driving home and find everything they was talking about. You look it up now, you can't find that stuff anymore, right? Ironically, and now at the same time, there's articles you can find that claim, there's half-truths on the history of the Jews and the slave trade. When just 4 years ago, you could have looked it up and it tells you all the truths of the Jews and the slave trade. So I say all that to say that they're literally doing these things as part of that crafty council to hide certain information from you. So when people come into the truth, folks that might have came in before them that have information that those people can't find anymore, it'll be harder for them new people to believe the information that you're putting out there, because they can't see it for themselves, right? And Jake is the type of person where they want to sign. You know what I'm saying? They want to see it for themselves. They want to know for themselves what's going on. So when you go tell them, hey, just look up the Dutch West India Company, you're gonna see the Jewish people ran it. And you find articles saying the Jewish people didn't have anything to do with the Dutch West India Company, but I got articles saying that they did. It's like now they got to go and choose which one they want to believe. It's because now they're allowing them to put out fake information. You know what I'm saying? And that fake information is being seen as the real stuff. So that's what you got to be privy to in this time right now, man, because the false information is real right now. Esau is taking his position as a deceiver, and he's upping it up a notch, but he's doing it subliminally to the point where Israel not really seeing and noticing what's going on. We just seeing every damn day it's a new doctrine on Facebook. Every day it's a new doctrine on Clubhouse. You know what I'm saying? That we having a feud, and we're just sitting in the back, we in the back chats talking to each other like, where are they getting this stuff from? Now I'm realizing where they're getting this stuff from. It's because they're watching people like Dan Calloway, you know what I'm saying, that don't do any real research. They do biased research, biased scholarship to make right the points that they've already claimed on their channels, right? So that they can make themselves look right. And then when somebody else comes against them, you know what I'm saying, that might know more about what the other person was talking about and has proof to show it, you know what I'm saying? People like Can't Get Right will come in the room instead of listening to the scholarship and trying to see what's actually going on, what's being brought out, what message is being conveyed. And they'll just start making comments without even seeing that the stuff that they're commenting on was already debunked. The brother straight up said, wasn't no slave ships. And we showed a database with the slave ship names, the dates, and the people number on it. They just made the database up and just came up with the dates and gave you names that you could look up on purpose for no reason. They went through all that work just to make it seem like there was a slave trade. Are you serious? And they went through all that work to show you that you could be a sovereign citizen and that there's laws. Man, y'all are retarded.
Hey, a database that none of us knew about until today.
Right.
If they made that up for us to believe it, right? If they made that up for us to know it was a slave trade or think it was a slave trade, I think we all would have known about that a long time ago. Come on, man.
I just looked it up. I just thought. I said to myself, hey, I wonder, since he just made that claim, I'm in the car on Clubhouse. I just said, let me go type in this Dan Calloway dude so I can hear what he's talking about. I did my research, listened to him all day, heard what he was talking about. I'm an expert on Dane now. I only needed 24 hours because that's how stupid the stuff is that he teaches. He teaches the same stuff over and over again. It don't need much debunking. You know what I'm saying? Because it's already stuff that we teach on a daily basis as to what is true and what's not. We know there was a slave trade that happened. We teach it. We have proof to support it, right? So it's like that type of stuff. Black folks are using the term indigenous now. The Native American used to be called Native American, right? Native and indigenous don't really mean the same thing. They're synonymous, but they're not the same thing. Indigenous means you sprouted from the ground. You occur naturally in the land, right? The Israelites would have been indigenous to Israel, but they're not indigenous to the Americas. You know what I'm saying? The Native American is native to America because he was the first one here, but he wasn't originated here. He's not aboriginal. He's not indigenous to this place, right? There's this aboriginal doctrine is a doctrine that's being pushed right now, where if you got brown skin, what they call melanin, you're an aboriginal person. So that's going to be lumping all brown people together. That's why we have that phrase, everybody's skin to you ain't kin to you. Your kinfolk ain't your skinfolk, right? Because like y'all all says all the time, it's East Indians that's my complexion, but they're not my people. We got them racist Somalians that's darker than me, but they're not my people. You know what I'm saying? The Ethiopians, the Eritreans, they're not my people. So these are the things we have to understand and be privy to, especially when it comes to working up our people. You got to know when giving the milk, every single avenue that people could be coming from. And at this time, we got to understand that a lot of our people are coming from a standpoint of being indoctrinized. And it's all because of them wanting to get away from the Bible because of what they think the Bible is. They think the Bible is a book of religion just for Christianity or the Catholics. It's not a book of religion. It's not a religious book. It's a book of a heritage for a specific people group on the planet, right? The easier you could teach that to people and convey that message, the better off it's going to be when it comes to trying to wake up those folks. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, that's really it. So, yeah, autochthonous, right? I don't know how to say that word, but yeah, that word also implies the indigenous theory. Yeah, let me put that up there so people can see it. These are all doctrines, right? The autochthonious or autochthonous, right? This term is the same as the Aboriginal term and the indigenous term and the Turtle Island stuff. You know what I'm saying? And the Moors have a certain science that derives off of that mess, or that mess derives from. It's all of these different things that our people are jumping into now. Don't even know what the Israelite is. So you got to be privy to these things because it's going to be these doctrines that you got to fight you to wake up the people now. Autochthonous. Yeah. Nah. It still don't make no sense to me. I don't get it. But yeah, man. It's all conjecture. It's all retarded stuff that they teaching right now. So we need to be in the standpoint of just being circumspect and teaching the people the truth, man, from the truth standpoint. That's why I teach that we need to learn history so we can debunk the stuff that they're saying, right? If you didn't know any history about the slave trades, didn't know where to find the database, you wouldn't be able to debunk somebody that's saying this that Dan Calloway is saying. You'd be forced to listen to what they're saying, right? Why are we talking? What's going on in the chat? In the
Oh Lord!
Wow, this went left quick. So we are the Sons of Thunder. No, I'm playing.
Yo, they going off. All right.
Random
sex
questions in the chat. I guess I'll answer this question. Yeah, it's lawful. Just, don't do it before camp.
All right.
Well, she should be your wife if she's doing it. That's what I'm going to say about that, Rick. Ha. My freaking computer was fighting a virus this time, bro. It just showed up and wow. That's crazy. It didn't even tell me it was troubleshooting anything. That's why I was acting dumb this whole time. But yeah.
Oh yes, it's lawful. Look.
The whole book. All right, look. I want all you brothers that got a question about fellatio, right? To go read the Songs of Solomon. The sister is very descriptive, and Solomon is very descriptive on, what's lawful and what's not.
That's enough.
Read that there. Just read that book. Read the Song of Solomon. It's a song about, certain things. So, yeah, I'm going to just leave that there for the children. Read that book. It'll tell you what's lawful and what's not. So, yeah, man, just lose the doctrines. I hope is that a doctrine that is unlawful? You see what I'm saying? Now you got to ask that type of question because you don't know.
Yes, there's a doctrine that's unlawful, that is sodomy, and that you go on to.
What?
Yes.
It's in the Bible.
See, we just need to keep wrapping this up. And with that,
it's in the Bible. It's in the Bible. It's in the Bible, guys. Goodness gracious. So we don't believe what's in the book now. The Old Testament Israelites don't believe in Yahweh because he in the Old Testament. Brothers don't believe in stuff Solomon did. This is crazy.
My brother about to be like, see, I told you. Let me stop.
Man, Israel is real. All right.
Oh, it's crazy.
We are the sons of thunder Israelites. It is our prayer and heart's desire that all Israel might be saved. We are gonna go through some doctrines. Sorry for it being a little slow today because of the computer. I didn't get to bring out a lot of stuff I wanted to bring out, but next week we'll bring out the rest of this stuff for y'all, and maybe the week after that too, because it's a couple doctrines that we're gonna be going over. Because I'm realizing now, like I said, right, we have to refute the doctrines in order to really teach the people. So that's what we got to look at. All right, we're the sons of the Israelites. It is our prayer and our desire that all Israel might be saved. Y'all be sure to tune into the class tomorrow, all right, and Thursday, and call into the class on Friday. And if I just, for some reason, don't hear from me again until August 6th, be sure to show up to the summit. All right? Shalom.
Shalom.